very warm welcome to the International Federation for Therapeutic and Counseling Choice Conference, the 5th annual conference of 2019. It's my pleasure this evening to welcome you and to begin the proceedings by introducing what we're going to do over the next few days. But I want to do that by talking about our theme, which is In Search for Identity as Men and Women. And as I began to think about this, I came across a book that I found to be interesting. It's about Bonhoeffer and resistance, reflecting on a difficult time in German history. And in that, in a famous essay that is often debated and cited and quoted many times, he talks about the word and the wheel. And what he's talking about is how the church is to relate to the state. Now, I understand there are many here today who do not concern themselves with the matters of the church and do not profess a worldview that would be specifically Christian. I want to say a very warm welcome to you. You are so welcome, and we are honored that you have come to be with us today. Thank you for doing that. But I think, nevertheless, there is something to be learned from what Bonhoeffer had to say. And I specifically want to relate to this to the whole idea of conversion therapy and the bans that we face. Now, you won't be able to read this. I put it in the PowerPoint so that you can read it at some time. But this is the passage that I'm talking about. He basically says three things about the church and the state and what people should be doing. He talks about the fact that we need to be questioning the state. Now, he's much more nuanced, and it's not quite as black and white as this will portray, but nevertheless, I think that's a principle we need to bear in mind. We need to question the state. He was concerned that the state fulfilled its sacred role. And the sacred role of the state is to make sure that society is just and ordered and peaceful, and that it is respectful of its citizens. Secondly, he said, we need to be busy with giving service to the victims of the state. So when bad laws are passed, we need to be present, serving those who have been the victims of injustice. And then the final thing he says, the third possibility, is that we should not just bind up the wounds of the victims beneath the wheel, but seize the wheel itself. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what I am wanting to say is it's the word and the wheel. I wonder if you hear that tonight. And this is what I want to suggest. Many of us have been doing the word, if you get my meaning. Over the next couple of days, we're going to be dealing with the wheel. And I'm going to be asking you to help us to make sure we learn how to capture the wheel. And I'm going to explain more about what I mean. Conversion therapy is used to designate what activists claim are intrinsically harmful practices that seek to fix what simply isn't broken. Definitions of conversion therapy link informal counseling, electroshock techniques, chemical castration, frontal lobotomies, and even corrective rape. Claiming that groups like the International Federation for Therapeutic and Counseling Choice practice conversion therapy is simply dishonest. All we do is offer counseling support based on standard techniques. By imposing the term conversion therapy on groups like Core Issues Trust in the UK and the IFTCC, there is an association with the catch-all phrase and the discredited practices that the invented term conversion therapy embraces. The fact is, there is no such thing as conversion therapy. The term is simply applied to any view opposing the normalization of gay practices or the refusal to accept the idea that we are born gay. We simply listen to adult people with respect to the goals that they want to achieve. It might be to stop sexual encounters that they find in conflict with more basic values that they hold, or it might be that they want to end addictive patterns, including a wrong relationship with pornography. Some want to enter into partnerships or marriages with the opposite sex, and we support them in those goals. The vast majority of people are neither exclusively homosexual nor heterosexual. We're mostly somewhere in the middle, and the fact is there are probably more ex-gays than gays in the world. Our services are geared to those who don't want to affirm homosexual practices in their lives, and they recognize that they have other possibilities. Should they be denied help just because gay activists think that therapy bans will affirm homosexuality? So what is happening here? Why are we seeing therapy bans proposed? Well, this is quite simply the vehicle through which radical liberalism will attempt to strangle Judeo-Christian foundations of Western societies and the reproduction of a very ancient worldview which we call pansexuality. And this is what we're witnessing today. This message is just to encourage all those who seek help and who recognize that there are political agendas that make it very difficult both to know what help to look for and from whom to get such help. We're here to support your journey out of homosexual and gender confusions that are unwanted for you. And I'm Mike Davidson from Core Issues Trust and the chairman of the IFTCC. So Bonhoeffer was encouraging us to put a spoke in the wheel. In other words, not to just allow the wheel to overrun us, but to actually put ourselves in a position where the wheel is stopped. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to suggest as we look at how our conference is constituted at the moment, we've got a good representation from many different walks of life. So there are 38% of the people here today are medics or from the psychological traditions. Doctors and nurses, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, therapists, social workers. Add to that the fact that we have a lot of what I call informers, the people who inform us and give us good information, the educationists. There are teachers and academics and researchers and translators and interpreters and students and scientists. Do you see how rich the group is that we have in front of us today? And then we have those who are defending our culture in different ways. And I know the teachers are doing that. The lawyers, the activists, the artists, the campaigners, the journalists, the other professionals, those in supporting roles, managers and civil servants. You know, those are sacred and important responsibilities that people have that can influence our society. And friends, I want to say you have a role and I have a role. And I note also that the smallest number among us are the ministers and the priests, 12.68% of the total. But, you know, the first shall be the last. They're not the least. They may be the smallest number. They are very important. They are the Word. They are busy, faithfully working in that way. But the rest of us, I want to suggest, are the wheel. Unfortunately, I did put the table that reflects the number of people from the country. So you can see there who's in the lead. Slovakia, 58. I was slightly alarmed. Well, there is no stopping the people of Slovakia. I can see that. I was alarmed when I met someone and I said, how many? And he said 63. And I thought, oops, there's something wrong because I know I have 53 on my statistics. Well done, Slovakia. You're in the lead. But look also at Hungary, 38. The warmth of Hungary. Thank you so much for hosting us. But then there's always Norway. We cannot forget the Norwegians. Give us a wave, Norway. There they are. And Poland, dear Poland, 15 people. Give us a wave. Let's see who you are. The United Kingdom is coming back, 17 people. But you can see 5 from Ukraine. Folks, thank you for coming from the Ukraine. 8 from the United States of America. 4 from Malta. Dear Italy, 6 people. Where are you? Let us see you. And 9 from the Czech Republic. Folks, let us work together to build the IFTCC, to work where we are, where God has put you, where you feel a place of service, where you feel you belong, you have a role. There is a way of standing up. Not everybody has to stand up and have their heads above the parapet, but you can do your part. So thank you so much for that. It's an exciting time for the International Federation for Therapeutic and Counseling Choice. One of the challenges we face is the determination to remove the freedom and rights of individuals to move away from unwanted sexual identities and practices. And once again, the uncritical idea that so-called sexual orientation is fixed and unalterable is being trumpeted as the bedrock of sexual politics in many Western democracies. The current release of the film Boy Erased in some European cities is based on the autobiography of Gerard Conley, starring Lucas Hedges, Nicole Kidman and Russell Crowe, and helps us to affirm the reason for the existence of the IFTCC. There are lessons to be learnt about how to support those wanting to come out of homosexual practices and the ethical standards that must be in place and adhered to for those involved in supporting them to do so. The IFTCC is here to offer training and support for those involved in such work to build accountable and ethical practices in both counselling and pastoral ministry for those unwilling to embrace homosexual and gender confusions. Whilst we have concerns that the film disregards what Conley's autobiography plainly reveals as a disordered family of origin with its distorted religious practices and even his own sexual molestation, there are clear lessons for all of us to learn about the questionable practices of ministry initiatives revealed in both the book and the film. But none of this changes the IFTCC's right to exist and its mission to protect the rights and freedoms of those wanting to help others to move away from unwanted homosexual and gender patternings. And there is a role for professional and pastoral support to achieve the client goal of changing behaviours and replacing unhealthy emotional patterns with healthy connections, and we can be grateful for those able to offer such help. Dr. Quinton van Meter and Professor Carolyn Peeler are two such professionals who have significantly contributed to the IFTCC in the past year through both their expertise and experience. One of the most exciting Core Issues Trust Voices of the Silence projects of late has been the filming of Once Gay, Matthew and Friends, widely released to celebrate the freedoms the IFTCC wants to encourage, protect and support. We're grateful for the young voices such as that of Matthew Grech and his friends from Malta. You'll find the free-to-view Once Gay, Matthew and Friends on voicesofthesilence.com website, and I hope you enjoy their music as much as I do. On behalf of the IFTCC Executive and Planning Groups, I'd like to encourage you to continue supporting those who want to leave what they have found to be unhelpful and unfulfilling practices, and to value those who stand with them in their journey. More than ever, we need to learn from past mistakes and to strive for the highest standards of practice that truly reflect the Judeo-Christian values that underscore our lives, beliefs, and professional practices. Let's build a future with our international partners together. Please support the IFTCC's mission, and don't forget to visit iftcc.org or find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.